Social Corner. I'm Janvi and this is WSC Picks. Today, in this segment, we have a special guest. We are going to talk to one of the most prominent feminist voices from Gujarat. She is a comedian, a teacher, a mother. She is Preeti Das. So without much ado, let's get the conversation going. So Preeti, in the changing landscape of comedy, where do women stand today?
Okay, and I'm going to be brutally honest. I think they're still struggling to find a place to stand, and that is simply because it is still entirely driven by men. Abhi loko keh ke, it's okay because I'm seeing more women stand there and do stand up. But again, these are the same numbers which are dwindling. You'll find them there for some time and then they're gone. Comedy is still, as they use the word, sausage fest. It is dominated by men simply because humor is power, and anything which is power is dominated by men, and not just performance. Even today, and I would easily say that when I see the audience, the large number of audience members are male. So unfortunately, it ends up becoming a male adda. And in the middle of that, here is a woman who doesn't want to do dating jokes, who wants to do jokes around her hysterectomy, around the gynecologist being apprehensive about saying the word vagina, or talking about menopause. Many things like that. It's not easy. Also, social media has definitely not helped much in this, I'll be very honest.
Okay.
Yeah, because a lot of us think that social media is now opening, but social media is in a loop. It's the same thing again and again. In fact, I now have a lot of audience members coming up to me and saying, okay, we enjoy your show because you haven't put up too much on YouTube. Yeah. And another interesting thing that I've noticed is they come and they listen to people and say, yaar, ye social media pe hi acha hai. I like listening to him under 1 second. Yeah. There is no live connect. But again, just in short, coming back to your question, where do women stand? I think, I don't want to be completely negative and say nowhere in a dramatic way. They're there, but the struggle, that shit is real. It is real. It is not easy at all.
So you have to say that the audience who still enjoys, ke Mari Bairi Avi Che or the wife jokes, you think the audience is still the same, or they have also grown? Like they would stand up against such things?
No, so I would now say that there is a dedicated audience that only does Bairi jokes. And there is a slightly evolved audience, which is something I think is great, because I would credit it to many people, and one name, if I'm allowed to say, is definitely Veer Das. I think I'm not fond of too many stand-up comics for a lot of positions they take, and the positions that they conveniently take and they refuse to take otherwise. But the thing is, now I have bifurcation of audience. So I know, okay, if I go to a certain segment, they will want from me, a typical sasu joke. Yeah, which I haven't done ever. So I'm like thinking, I don't have jokes on my mother-in-law because I just don't spend time with her. Maybe, which is against people like, how you don't live with your mother-in-law, etc., all that shit. So they have evolved. In India, the entire evolution is taking a slow kind of pace. Yeah. Having said that, we also have people who take you back in time again, right? Because suddenly rape jokes again sort of hit the circuit. I think insensitivity, well, people say that, where do you draw a line in a joke? Because a joke is a joke. Now, you can't get hurt for everything. That also has become an excuse, Janvi.
True.
To get away with a lot of sexism, to get away with a lot of hardcore patriarchy, and that
that will take a long time.
It will take a long time. It will take a long time.
But Preeti, when you're talking about sexism, like in 2023, we saw hyper masculinity in cinema.
Yeah.
In Animal and Pushpa.
Yeah.
What do you feel about that?
Oh, very offended, very hurt. In fact, some of my favorite actors also recently made a statement saying that if cinema would change people's perception, then we would have progressed as a country in defense of Animal. And I'm shocked because as a cinema student, as someone who has studied cinema throughout, I think cinema is a part of your social fabric, your thinking, your attitude, everything, yeah? For us as girls of my age, Madhuri Dixit was an icon, and I used to love closing my room and dance like her, do the controversial choli ke piche, So for me, I don't know, I think these movies I would never endorse something like this. I had the guts to go watch Animal, and I did it because it was popular culture. So in order to make fun of it, I should at least. I could not. I could not sit through it. There was no justification for this man-child growing up and forgiving attitude. I was very lost. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel these movies take you back to whatever, and people don't realize. They say कि अरे picture अच्छा नहीं मासूच है, but
we see it increasing.
Yeah, in which shapes. Again, I'm going to bring back being a teacher. I see a lot of students coming up to me, women, and saying कि यार आज होया पची, you know, my boyfriend is pulling my bra strap in a way that it hurts me a lot because it was cool and he thinks that is sexy. And I'm like, I understand. I am standing at a threshold of humor, popular culture, and academics. And I think I see it all coming together.
Through the ground zero.
Yeah, absolutely there, you know. And I don't even know what to tell them. Then I'm like, chal se. Now, where do I open the conversation, right? So a lot of movies, I think, are very deep-rooted in such violent methods, you know. And in fact, a student had a very interesting observation. They said, "Kya cigarette smoking, gutka, alcohol mein there are warnings. Why is there no warning to say that this is a fictional depiction of beating a woman? Because you actually think, and I'm not saying it's men, women also endorse it.
Yeah.
It's there is no gender when it comes to violence. It's endorsed collectively by all of us, you know. So yeah, it just hurts me actually.
To see it.
Yeah, constantly coming up.
And Preeti, you also shared your experience of being a teacher. Now tell me, like, what do you see, what do you feel when you see the Gen Z girl? I mean, do you see them more liberated than the millennials or the boomers? Do you see something negative? What are your observations about them as you are a teacher and you are dealing with them on day-to-day basis?
While they are completely liberated, they have choices, and I look at them often and I'm jealous. Ki, yaar, I wish I had all this
freedom,
that kind of freedom. I mean, I did. I think I was born and brought up in a lovely, very open family. But you know, Janvi, when I see these options and I see the pressures of it, that is scary, right? When I teach these girls. You know, I feel they have an entire choice of dressing up the way they are. They speak very well, they're very confident, but the moment you talk to them about their bodies, they are uneasy. I see a lot of market pressure on them.
Okay.
I see a lot of pressure of the social media and constantly being happy. I see them breaking very fast.
True.
Right? And when I say breaking, I mean even in relationships, that point of breaking is so fast that I'm not sure what is not settling for these girls, you know. You have so many opportunities. I think grab it.
Yeah. There's always one after the other.
Yeah, and be it opportunities or men, move on. It's okay. You know. So what is holding you back? And I think the pressure of portraying constant happiness on social media is crazy with these young ones, right? Because it's like when I do sessions on body, there are times when people break down. And other young girls come and tell me कि मैम यार इनको रोको ये रो रहे हैं. मैंने कहा नहीं रोने दो ना. What's wrong in crying? It is an emotion that you're bottling, absolutely, right? And you need to get it out. It's coming out in theatre, in body exercises. Let it come out. So what is they like? नहीं अच्छा नहीं लगता. I'm like, where is this coming from? You know. So for me, while there are lovely choices, they're definitely empowered. They speak and they have more forums to speak, right? But having said that, they are also under immense market pressure, right? And which is pulling them down. Again, this comes from a mother's perspective and a teacher who is dealing with 19 to 24, 25-year-old students from various universities across class, you know. Yeah, it's a little heartbreaking.
But along with the pressure to constantly look happy, there is also pressure to look beautiful, because this is the age of plastic surgeons, where everyone wants to get Botox and wants to change things. How do you feel about this standard of beauty which we just cannot, you know, like reach?
Janvi, my only thing is, who is defining the standard of beauty? It is
market.
Correct? You have to look a certain way. You have to start like. How come we are discussing vegan? How come we are discussing so many options? Suddenly there is a craze for ghee ke saath khana, nahi khana, right? So all I'm saying is this entire pressure is market driven. The conversation, the narrative is driven by market, and as you say, we feel that girls are confident, about the way they look, but they are not. They feel uglier, and it is very unfortunate that color, body type, everything. Now the problem is, if you look at someone your age and maybe younger, and somebody who's in Europe, there's no difference. Where is the diversity? Why would an Indian body not look like an Indian body?
Yeah.
Right? Suddenly, and my biggest problem is we are also dealing with concepts like "Mari yummy mummy banu che." Those stretch marks will not go, right? And it's okay. It's okay. So, also having said that, there is the other end of the spectrum, which is very loud body positivity, which is also scary because it's falling in another trap.
Yeah.
But I feel that this entire pressure of looking a certain way is leading to what they say mental issues, depression. It's no longer only Fair and Lovely. It's way beyond that. It's way beyond that, and it is so layered that they don't know what is hitting their subconscious.
But on one side, when we have such higher standards of beauty, I see you doing choli ke piche kya hai in an audience, and we expect a certain body type, we expect a certain age group to do that.
Correct.
And what gives you the courage to do that? Because many people are worried that it will break my character, or like all of those inhibitions. What gives you the liberty?
No, I think I am trying not to. I've always been a rebel. I love my body. I mean, this is a mutilated body, Janvi. I have been through surgeries, through delivery, through a massive surgery. And whatever I try, sometimes post a hysterectomy, there is a whole tendency of putting on weight and stuff. But if I don't live and love what I have, then I think nobody else will. And I am a very strong believer. A lot of these gurus always say कि शरीर तो फक्त एक माध्यम छे, एक पात्र छे. That's bullshit. शरीर is your only asset. It's the only instrument that you'll own. So love it, irrespective of what it is. Work on it if you feel, you need to work towards fitness. But for me, what gives me the confidence is I think I've always been like that. And when I was told कि आपको चोली के पीछे करना है, वो भी एक skimpy backless पहन के पूरा ऐसा love handle और ये बच्चे का मार्ग जो मेरा यहाँ से I think पेट तक आता है वो दिखाना, I said let's do this, and I've done it in 15 shows across the country. It's not just here.
And sure, sometimes it's not make you uncomfortable, it has made the audience uncomfortable.
That is the idea. That is the idea, because what happens is here there are these young girls with very crafted bodies dancing in ways which is how you want, right? You want the male gaze. Yeah. And I at my age also stand there and say, fuck it, I want the male gaze. Yeah. What's wrong? Right? So for me, the idea of doing that particular item number in that play was that male gaze is something a woman can desire. Yeah. Also there's nothing wrong. I mean, we have our contradictions, and one of them is that mane bhi game chhe yaar, like and I want to show my back. I want to do that action properly. Yeah. And फिर तुमको जो समझना है, it's up to you.
But Preeti, tell me that when you are this rebel, this feminist, इसकी वजह से गालियाँ पड़ती है?
बहुत बहन, बहुत पड़ती है. In fact, I'm surprised, as I said in the interview, you got the F word. And the most dangerous F word is feminism nowadays, because people are like, how, તમે બીજા F word use કરી શકો. But
that's become a gali.
Yeah, feminism is a gali, but the problem is feminism is equality. Yeah. That's my only thing, that even today, my struggles to get a clean toilet continues. My struggle to figure out, even in an office where I can change a pad comfortably and maybe keep my legs up, or my struggle to not feel conscious about showing my breasts. दिख गया यार, गलती से I'm involved, I'm doing theatre. Things will go down because I'm exercising, I'm getting into character, but there's this whole, oh God, so
just uncomfortable.
It is. And गाली बहुत पड़ती है. गाली क्या छोड़, मैं एकदम गुजरातन जैसे बोलूँ तो you end up losing a lot of deals. You end up because people say कि अरे यार इनको तो नहीं बुलाएंगे, ये तो ऐसी हैं. In fact, over about 4 years, I've started working a lot with little children because I've given up on adults. So I work with the really small ones, storytelling workshops, and I see if they can curate. For me, I want empathy. I believe in empathy, not sympathy. So the best way is to get the young ones to understand And in that a lot of people come and tell me, अरे पर आप तो वही हो ना जो vagina boobs बोलते हो, तो आप बच्चों के साथ क्या करोगे? I'm like, seriously, you think I'm going to be doing like boobs and vagina stuff with the little ones? So all I'm saying is that there is this entire, and it's so easy, right? When you're a woman, you're stereotyped, but when you're a male with things like that, it becomes something that you wear as, oh, he wears so many hats, yaar, jo nahi yaar. How easily he slips from one to the other. He's multi-talented. But here it's like, wow, yeah, how can she do that, yeah, you know?
But on this note, you wear so many hats. One of them is of being a mother. Now tell us, how do you raise a feminist child? Like, how do you raise a feminist boy? Because most women are, you know, progressive and all of that.
Yeah.
But then who's struggling are the guys.
Yeah.
How do you raise a child who grows up to be a feminist?
So, you know, there is no mantra. I think I'm learning every day how to raise a child, and somewhere I wanted a daughter, but I think I'm glad that I have a son, because I realized that feminism हम सब महिलाएं करेंगी तो बंदों को कौन तैयार करेगा. I think it's just mere observation, because I don't give him any gyan. I think me and my husband, we make sure that he's a part of everything. You know, so he comes for the shows. A lot of people have said कि stand-up comedy में इतना छोटा बच्चा, you've seen him, 3-year-old, he would come, and I would like, no, he doesn't understand, but he's watching his mother say something for which either people are applauding or feeling uneasy. So he's a part of all that. The father does, and I think I wear it on my sleeve that 13 years of marriage, I can count on my finger the number of days I have got up in the morning to make breakfast and fill his dabba. It's my husband who does that with no help in the morning, right? So all I'm saying is that as someone who's observing, equality is nothing wrong if mom is sleeping till 10 a.m. It doesn't make her
a bad mother.
It's okay if my mom comes home late because he knows she's partying with her friends. So he knows. He will ask me the next day कि girlfriend के साथ कैसा रहा, मतलब so whatever bandi group, whatever he says, कैसा रहा, and he knows it's fine, right? He also knows that with the father, this is what it is. So I feel that let them be a part of the environment. We always think कि बच्चे हैं, but I think they are smart, yeah. They have their understanding of things, you know. So that's what makes it. And I said parenting is something you're learning every day. Yeah.
Putting things together.
Yeah, he's 10 now. As he gets close to teen, I don't know how I'm going to deal with it, but yeah.
And Preeti, like, there are feminists, and on the other spectrum, there are women fighting for men's rights.
Yeah.
One of the names I can give is of Deepika Bharadwaj.
Yeah, of course.
Tell us, what do you think of those things, you know, where women may misuse the rights they have, or women fighting for men? How do you see that equation?
No, I don't think it's wrong. It's fair enough, you know, in many ways, because I feel that it's never us versus them. So while we also have men fighting for our rights, but for me, it's just very simple. Janvi, even if you ask your team right now, tall का opposite क्या है, short बोलेंगे, fat का thin बोलेंगे, black का white बोलेंगे, और male का female बोलेंगे. So the moment, Janvi, you peg one against the other as opposites, it becomes a problem. Even in the textbooks.
True, that's
Pulling, striling, and that's where I think, that's why I like to work with children, because you need to break all that.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing is that, how do you know, so with people like this documentary filmmaker, it's nice to have, you know, so people also say कि हाँ ठीक है, महिलाएं भी हैं जो men rights पे वो करती है. But my thing is, basic बात है यार, अम्बेडकर हम सब ने पढ़ा है, राइट्स की बात तभी होती है जब हम लोग एक साथ खड़े हैं. तुम लोग रेस का मारो बंदूक पर, मेरे को साथ में खड़े रहना. That's all I'm saying, right? With my body, with, again, institutionally I have a problem after delivering a child. We are in 2024. You cannot count also how many institutes have breastfeeding spaces, right? So if I want to bounce back, I'm just telling you the corporate thing. You're talking about holidays, leaves, which is great, but then I want to get back to work. Where do I get my child? I'll have to be with the child, right? There's societal pressure, and then there's the pressure of me being an independent woman. Where do I take my kid?
But then on this note, like, there are discussions in parliament where they are against menstrual leaves.
Correct. Oh my God, yes. Oh yeah,
so what do you have to say on that?
Yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, I think this Desh Ki Bahu has really taken that thing a little too. I don't know. I think it's extremely unfortunate, you know, to make it seem like हाँ बहुत common चीज़ है. But I think somewhere you were breaking taboos. People had worked very hard. We are also speaking of during COVID times when people said, okay, if you cook, you're a kutri, you're a bitch, right?
Yeah.
From there to making it seem that it's fine, you shouldn't be. It's difficult, yaar. It's a lot of people. The fight keeps happening. फिर कोई खींच लाता है. फिर तुम लोग बोलते हो कि चलो अब रेस लड़ो. तो हमको आने दो ना आगे. So here suddenly we did have men talking about menstruation. There was so much happening, Janvi, but one statement like this just flips it for us. And every time something like this comes.
Yeah.
Every time.
Another every time Deepika Padukone wears a bikini, there's an uproar on social media. Why do you think women or people have so much problem with women's sexuality? Like they just, wearing what they want, doing what they want.
Yeah, Janvi, that's a very deep question, but your sexuality means your confidence. It means you're claiming what is yours, and that has always been a problem with men, right? If men are allowed to sit like this and scratch their crotches in public, it is an assertion of power. I'm not even talking about hygiene and disgust. It is. But having said that, if that is okay, if so many things, I mean, it's very common, but I'll just tell you, peeing in public, it's a small thing. But as a health reporter, all I'm saying is, your private is not your private, but my private is a private for everybody, right? As Kamla Basin ji said, कि पूरी इज्जत तुमने मेरे वजाइना में डाल रखी है, right? So all I'm saying is that the moment a woman claims her body, I'm not even saying in any sexual way, it becomes a problem. It becomes, and as you said, choli ke piche, I did have a lot of flack for it. A lot of people did come and say, oh, how karwanu yaar, main ko kem nahi. All I want to know is what problem did you have with the song or with me dancing? Yeah. And therefore, did you want the younger one to dance, which is
again problematic?
Right? Yeah. So, तुमको तो हर चीज से problem है ना फिर. So when you are very confident about your body, it becomes a problem, and that's why I come back in a circle that young girls are driven by market. They think they are confident. Yeah. But again, if you immediately wear like this lovely hot pant, you start feeling a little uneasy. You start like, so then sit now, then go ahead, then sit like this. I remember just one instant, and I'll leave it at that, is a student in my class, a very intelligent boy, he had his shirt buttons open till here. So I thought, एक बार है, हर class में उसके shirt का button इधर तक खुला होगा, So I went next to him and I sat just like him. I said, यार क्यों मस्त नहीं तने गर्मी में, you must be feeling so good. I said, me, if I open even 3 to 4, I will be called a slut teacher. Or say the girl next to you, if she were to just sit like that. Yeah. So for me, equality is bodies, is if this is wrong, it's wrong for you as well. Right? And if I'm going to be looked a certain way, I mean, can we try figuring this out, which will take forever, True. So immediately you asked for it. That entire nexus is...
it will take ages to...
Yeah.
And Preeti, as you talk extensively about gender sensitivity, are there any books or any movies that you would want to recommend for people to, understand it better if they've already not?
No, so again, yaar, wo to bahut hardcore. I'm a Virginia Woolf kind of a, I mean, I would read whatever she has written again and again, but I still think that maybe closer home, when I say gender sensitivity, it need not be that tumne samajho જોઈએ कि what a woman is feeling, but maybe even narrative and representations. I would strongly go by, Telugu writer goes by the pen name Volga. I'm a huge fan of her work. She uses mythology, but she twists it. Okay. And I like the fact that her narratives are very strong characters of women. So Sita's Redemption, I think that's the name of one of the many books she's written. It's a fiction, and it's just Sita meeting 4 characters and asking them कि मैं अग्नि परीक्षा करूं कि नहीं. उसमें से एक उर्मिला है, Lakshman's wife. There's Kaikai, there is Shabri, and there's one more. I don't want to kill the suspense. It's a brilliant book, and just conversations with these 4 women. That do I do it? And the ending is very interesting. So the thing is, the more you understand women's perspective, the better it is, right? And of course, you should also see animal JV movies so that you understand how disgusting it is. A lot of people are like, "Marriage nathi joke anke, I've heard it's bad." I would say, don't do that. Watch. I know it's torture. It's torture, but go watch it, because people are, right, and you need to understand. And maybe it's a marketing gimmick, you know, okay, bhai, it's made it to this.
Yeah. People will come and watch.
Correct, because of this kachra. But again, I mean, in the recent past, I think, close my eyes and vouch for a lot of Malayalam films because of the kind of characters they do, and I think a lot of them pass the Bechdel test very easily with women characters. More. More, and a backstory and something interesting, you know. While I love Deepika Padukone, I think she looks hot in a bikini in Pathaan, but I wish there was, you know, if you look at Pathaan again, that movie, Deepika के गिन के 10 लाइनें हैं यार, और उसमें आधे टाइम हाँ पठान ना पठान ना पठान. So I'm like, where is the evolving of her character as a storyteller? I do want a stronger narrative around a woman, right? Not only to support the story of Pathaan, you know, I mean, a gorgeous woman and a great actor like her. You know, so
these are the things.
Yeah, I would say regional cinema is picking up very well with a lot of women characters.
That's what.
Interestingly, as opposed to popular belief, I also would say Iranian films. Well, people are like, nah, joya ma beno hijab ma hoy, but see how the character is taken forward.
Yeah.
Well, the hijab can be her space of whatever, comfort. But from there, the story, the narrative
Is important.
And it's very well done. Very well done.
And on the concluding note, what are the red flags you would say that take care of these when you are getting into a relationship with a guy? Like any red flags that you would want to talk about?
Oh my God, I think trust, a lot of violence, and violence doesn't mean Kabir Singh, that comes much later, but I have seen a lot of verbal sort of insecurities, you know.
Humor.
Like crazy, yeah. So, and I think, you know, yeah, my only thing, I'll be very honest, I know people will dislike me for saying this, but I think people say, like, ek umar ma lagan kari levu joiye. I would endorse that. You shouldn't. Because at every age, your concept of love, your concept of wanting is very different. So I think play the field. Whether you're male or female, meet, interact, fall in love, then fall in love again.
True.
Right? Which is okay. For you to understand that this is the one, you need to have many ones, no? First to... Yeah? So for me, it's just that there also is this whole thing of, you know, ab mere ko boyfriend mil gaya, you know, I have nice things to show on Instagram. We get over that. That's something I always say. Don't rush into commitment. Don't. So for me, the red flag would definitely be a very violent sort of a possessive behavior, insecurity, and trust it takes time. 13 years of marriage, and I still think there are times when I have trust issues. But all I'm saying is that these are very easy words to use, but it's very difficult to deal with it. Very difficult.
And for this generation, it's going to become more difficult.
It is. I feel bad for them, honestly. And I'm very grateful. While I think that, bhai, you have a lot, I am very, very happy to be born when I was. Because I could have conversations without a phone. Janvi, here you go to a restaurant, you'll see people only on the phone all the time, right? And now a movie which says throw your phone away is people are like, wow, right? So when I teach students, the biggest thing is they can't talk. They are scared of looking in the eye and even talking about anything, yeah? So that immediately leads to other sensory things, right? Yeah. When was the last you held somebody's hand, looked into their eyes, or you know, what is your mama's smell? What is the smell of that little kid? What is the smell of Janvi when she washes her hair? Is that very strong Kapoor shampoo? You know, we've lost that. We've lost that because the market. At the end of the day, you're not communicating. It is market. No, it's not even market. It's, you know what I'm saying? It's not that you're building ties with somebody over the phone. It's not real. No, it's not real. It's not real at all. It's not real at all. And when I ask my students to keep the phone away, I see them starting to feel uncomfortable. I'm druje loko. In 15-20 minutes, you know, that ma'am, meko phone chahiye, ma'am. And I'm like, why? Can you just keep it away? Eventually, it becomes nice and they feel good, you know, but it's very difficult. It's very difficult because suddenly everything is an emergency. And also one last thing, I think with this generation is, there should be the art of doing nothing. The biggest problem is, you know, suddenly people will come and tell you, yaar, केम यार तो हम बैठी से यार कहीं तो कर. But I realize that till you are not in the space of doing nothing, you cannot create new stuff. Right? Besine fafa marwa is very good. And I have seen parents complain that यार ये देखना यार खाली बैठा है बच्चा. To a 6-year-old. अब 6-year-old कभी खाली नहीं बैठते. They are constantly thinking. That's when they will create something. That's when you will have something lovely coming out of children, you know. तो आपने इनको टैबलेट पकड़ा दिया, आपने इनको मतलब look busy यार, be busy यार, उन्ना चाल है ना. So also even on phone, if you're gossiping or if you're on WhatsApp, but you're looking busy. So the whole concept of being busy and the need to be busy, right? घरे भी कितना fashion है यार, and it's not needed. I think now there should be courses which says sit and do nothing, just stare. I mean, so many hours I don't remember how I used to spend in the kitli alone. You know, and I feel if you are, this whole self-love is when you are able to be with yourself alone. Yeah. And I'm not meaning in a meditative way. उनको जो रास्ता नहीं बच्चे बैसे ने तमें जुओ, observe. It's a beautiful experience.
True. I hope like all the people who are watching us, you know, try to follow this in whatever way.
It's not easy. I'm not even giving gyan like anybody. I find it difficult also, right? But I feel that
eventually we'll have to.
We'll have to. Otherwise, Chami, where are we heading? Yeah. You know, अरे 5 થી 6 करवानु છે, this અને પછી I'm also this urgency of work suddenly, right? Like I remember parents coming home 5 वागे પછી they were hours. Yeah. There was nothing like email check karo. You're constantly trying to reply.
All of that.
Work would still happen efficiently.
But now we don't have time.
It's sad. It's sad, and we're all a part of it. But we need to find those spaces to break wherever we can. The maximum population is going to be women in the perimenopause and menopausal age. There is no market for any product. There is no understanding of it. There is nothing that talks about it other than just making fun of it, you know. And the fact is, even today, my biggest problem with stand-up comedy is when you say mama jokes, you are forgetting that maybe the mama is genuinely going through something, no? So when I stand there as a mama and tell them that this is what it is, my hormones, like literally, you know, when you get the test done, there also is count for that. What does it mean? Nobody knows about it. And Emma, કેટલું બધું છે that needs to be talked about because you are more prone to heart attacks. There are so many things that make you uneasy, right, about yourself. And the worst part is this menopause or perimenopause hits you when તમે બધું કરી લીધું, તમે બૈરી બની ગયા, તમે બચ્ચા મોટો થઈ ગયો, everything is sorted. And then you want કે હાશ અભી मैं ना पूरा एक्सेलरेट करके अपने करियर में ऐसा मस्त फ्लाई करूंगी ना, तब शरीर जो है ना लथड़ होके ना तुम्हारी मारता है. और इस तरह से that you don't understand what it is. Sudden exhaustion, a lot of sweating, sometimes blank out. Right? Like, yeah, it's like I'm like talking to you, I know you're Janvi and I'm like, oh, that's your name? Right? So it's not a memory loss, but I'm saying these hormones can do so much to you, right? That, and I'm like thinking, so I asked a doctor and he's like, ha yaar, gentso માટે સારું છે. કારણ કે એમના બધા problems mostly physically 55-60 પછી આવે when they've retired, when they're done with whatever they want to do. But for us, when you're all done, all good to go and say, how, now I will rock it, and you're like, oh God. So,
but I think it's with every age group, right? Different things with hormones.
Of course.
It's always there.
Of course, yaar. Of course.
No one gets it.
No, I'm telling you, आधा टाइम तो तुमको यार तुमने अपना व्हाइट पैंट स्टेन किया, उसमें चला जाता है जीवन. फिर जब ये सब संभल जाता है, बच्चा हो जाता है, बच्चे के टाइम तो अलग स्ट्रेस था. I remember one show, and I'm going to be very upfront about it, is after 3 months of delivering, I did my first thing. And I thought at that time, standing, and I thought that maybe I am leaking from my breasts, my milk, and I'm like, it's a natural thing. But it is not good when you're on stage. And I left. I'm like, my God. Yeah, I was very, and for some odd reason, instead of feeling that it is natural and it's okay, I was guilty. I didn't go on stage for a long time. And that's not right.
These are things no one tells us about.
No, and after all this happens, and when you're like, चलो अभी तो मैंने uterus निकाल दिया है, periods का भी stress नहीं है, पर फिर मुझे बोलते नहीं नहीं आपने यूट्रस निकाला है, पीरियड्स नहीं होगा पर मेनोपॉज जरूर होगा। मैंने कहा ये क्या मतलब है? बोले नहीं, you have not skipped to the good part. You will have to.
Preeti, I'm already scared of all the things.
No, I don't. All I'm saying is, don't be scared, but be prepared. Now, where is the market for me to say, कि, okay, at 10 rupees, I'm getting this thing which can help me deal with my hot flashes, right? Where is? आप मोटो धंधोज है.
Yeah.
Maximum population in 2025 is going to be perimenopausal and menopausal women, yeah. तो help me with my career यार. यहाँ पे मैंने कहा कि अभी I used to cry saying breastfeeding की जगह नहीं है. Now I'm crying saying कि यार कि कोई menopause समझता है. मैं यार ये कर क्या रही हूँ अपने आप के साथ. So I think
there's a lot of education needed.
It is. People are finally talking about menstruation taboos. Now let's talk menopause.
Yeah.
Know your mothers, your bhabis, everybody, yeah, because perimenopause starts as early as 35 and sometimes earlier.
And fancy sanitary pads are a different topic altogether.
Oh God. Oh my God, please don't get me started on that. Those have given me rashes. And I always feel, I'm so sorry, most of the market for women is designed by men. અને મને મજા નથી આવતી એમાં because sanitary napkins,
perfumes.
हाँ, even if you put environment conscious, उसका एक लेवल तुमने sanitary napkin में perfume डाला है. मतलब it says scented sanitary napkins. It was nasty because एक तो during periods what am I going to do with perfume in my vagina? And then, and I'm not kidding and exaggerating, dogs chase you because it's a very screwed up smell. But no one wants to talk about it. But market में हम सब कहेंगे अब हम scent वाला आपके लिए लेके आ रहे हैं. बहुत टाइम तक तो blue ink ही दिखाते थे. So I know a lot of people who thought that menstruation meant we are bleeding blue. You remember all those?
अभी तो
correct. And ads में तो allowed नहीं था ना blood this thing and all.
उसमें realism नहीं दिखा.
नहीं realism तुम animal में दिखा सकते हो, तुम इसमें दिखा सकते हो, पर pads में. And I know people who really thought कि यार blue blood आता है यार. मैं कहा यार क्या तुम पढ़े लिखे हो यार. But care.
Happens.
So yeah.
Or you can speak about women and fake orgasm, like we are such a good match.
Yeah, always I think. So I'll tell you what, the biggest problem of orgasm, and rightfully women don't know what orgasm is because women don't know what pleasure is, right? I'll be very honest. Pleasure for them is, you just have sex and you're done. Even now, most women think sex is, because the way we think sex is for procreation, not for pleasure, right? Because it is for pleasure, and at a certain age, your hormones medically are raging, and it is good to have sex, right? With all safety, precaution, etc. Having said that, with orgasm, the biggest problem is before expecting your partner to give you that pleasure, you should understand what an orgasm is, because women don't know what an orgasm is. They're like, pati you, happy. For that, you need to explore your own body. First, you need to know what your own G-spot is. You need to understand your vagina in and out, right? And beach mein na wo achanak those reels will come which says your vagina is self-cleaning, and you'll be like, yay, I know something about my vagina from a damn reel, which is wrong most of the times, right? So the biggest thing with orgasm and women's pleasure is, one, it's not talked about. Two, it's considered dirty. Three, women also are constantly made to feel that exploring your own private parts is not right. Right? You explore it, and that's when you realize that, okay, this is where I understand what pleasure is. This is what I know what it is. And if you get to a doctor, the idea of a lot of those kind of hormones when they are released is very healthy. Especially when I spoke about the fact that game hormones ka hi hota hai. Yeah. And for us, menstruation, menopause, everything is very hormone, right? Whatever said and done. So in the middle of all this, if you don't know that these things actually increase certain good hormones, so that's what sex becomes a task. You know, कि हाँ करियो छे, अरे यार मारे virginity lose करवी छे. You know, from things like that to so for me, orgasm is something first women have to know what it is. To expect their partners to give them that level of pleasure. You know, and seeing 50 Shades of Grey or that other movie is not going to teach you, because it's just fake, because we know that एज कहूँ ना आटलामा वी थिंक मतलब इतने में इतना ही मिलेगा, यही है. तो जब तक हम खुद अपने शरीर के साथ कंफर्टेबल नहीं, एक्सप्लोर नहीं करते, वी डोंट टॉक अबाउट इट टू डॉक्टर्स, टू आवर फ्रेंड्स. यू नो, वी गर्ल्स डोंट लाइक टॉकिंग अबाउट एनीथिंग. हमको लगता है पीपल ऑलवेज से कि बहनों एटले पंचायत करे, बट we don't talk about our own pleasures, or the fact that there is an underground sex toy market.
There's a lot of slut shaming around.
Of course.
Like when people speak about
Of
like
course.
right.
Yeah.
And female masturbation is another thing.
Oh
already.
God, let's not even get there. Yeah, masturbation, I feel, irrespective of gender, is a healthy process. Also, it's a process where you're getting to know your body. Now, as I said, I'm the mother of a 10-year-old. I am now seeing my son curious about his body and other bodies, right? So, how do you get to know that? Right? How are you introduced to your own body? Is when you are alone and you look at it. And that's when I'm saying we're not confident about our bodies. There is nothing wrong in wanting to know your body, irrespective of your gender. And masturbation is when you realize, अरे यार, मैं यहाँ छू रही हूँ और मुझे कुछ अच्छा लग रहा है, या छू रहा हूँ. Right? So that's when you start realizing that these are parts that give you pleasure, that make you feel a little different. आप जब तक एक्सप्लोर नहीं करोगे, इसीलिए, and again I bring you from being a crime reporter for so many years, covering assault, gang rape and child rape. What happens is when older men get these young girls and they say कि चल मैं तेरे को यहाँ छूता हूँ, you will feel magical, and the girl is like हाँ. So for me, most of the times as a journalist, my biggest struggle was the girl never knew for so long that it was assault. Because she was, and फिर flip हो जाता कि मजा तो आ रहा था ना तेरे को. Where do you tell them that sex education, that masturbation is not wrong? Right? If you don't explore your body, somebody else will, and that is where the danger is. So good touch and bad touch doesn't mean कि अही नहीं अडवानो. And also the biggest problem is people will give pet names. Nunnu, Ninni, Tinnu, Munnu. You don't call it what it should, right? It's a vagina and a penis. And it's medically absolutely fine to say that. मैं गाड़ो माँ बोल सो, right? तेरी माँ का, you will say that, right? But you can't say vagina medically and tell a girl that this is one part of your body. When you touch, you may get pleasure, but that doesn't mean you let anyone touch. तो मैंने वो गंदू है तो हजी they will go and touch them the first thing. And we love it as human beings. You say no, I do first thing. So those conversations are not happening at all. In storytelling sessions with 6-7-year-olds, the horror hits me. When I create even stories like Snow White, which has nothing to do with it, I get to know कि so I had to make 7 dwarfs. I did 7 apps बनाते. These kids understand apps. So one of the child told me कि मेरे को ऐसा ऐप बनाना है कि अंकल घर पे नहीं आए. And for me in my head, I was not even thinking what I think as a journalist. And then बातों में निकला कि अंकल ऐसा करते हैं, he touches me here, and I'm like, oh. So the age is when I think it's a very tricky thing.
They are exploring, right? And
exploring, and now you have a lot of options to even find out. Like you have the internet, phone कोई भी access कर सकता है. If the parents are sleeping in the night, accessing a laptop is no longer difficult, yeah. And people are learning computer in school, they know it, right? And people talk, young ones talk. Right? When people see a film like Pushpa, for me it's not just the violence, it's the way he's treated a girl, he's paid money to get a kiss from her, that the 8-9-year-olds are discussing कि पैसे देके या लड़की kiss करेगी, and I'm like shit, this is the kind of stuff that, and they're like पर मैंने पुष्पा में देखा, मैंने कहा हाँ, what do I do? Right? There is no way I can sue them as being a parent. It is already completely, how you want to take it, no. So I think pleasure अगर आप खुद नहीं करोगे वो abuse हो जाएगा. और कोई फिर, and विकृत लोगों की बिल्कुल कमी नहीं है. It is only increasing, and I think if we have cases of 6-month-old girls being raped to elderly women, I think it somewhere I am a hardcore endorser of sex education and pleasure. You need to understand pleasure, because pleasure is the core, yaar. Your body demands pleasure, your body demands food. You can't, अपने को भूख लगती तो अपन दबा के खाते नहीं, but we don't do the same with pleasure.
Yeah.
You at a certain age you will feel the urge to have sex.
If we suppress it, will come out in another form.
Absolutely.
And there are virtual rapes in
of course, which was
metaverse.
a very scary thing, because there is no law to understand that.
Yeah.
कि तुम्हारा तो avatar है, but if your avatar is raped, why are you feeling offended? Right? And virtual rape as a concept.
Is it legal? Not legal.
It was there. I remember reading about it when I was studying, and for me it was like, what nonsense. Virtual rape क्या होता है? That was when ICQ and all that was sort of floating, and digital laws was sort of being formed, people didn't know how to deal with virtual rape. And the question is, एक minute, penetration नहीं हुआ,
तो रेप
तो रेप कैसे हुआ? और ये तो अवतार है, ये तो AI है, how is it a rape? So what is it that you're feeling, right? Which is also how you feel when you're bullied, right? Maybe they haven't touched you, but there's something uneasy.
Someone lost in translation.
Of course. But again, just saying, when it comes to masturbation, whether female or male, it's a way to explore your body. It should be done, because if you don't do it, somebody else will do it, and it's not right. You need to know that this gives me pleasure, and let me explore it, or let me then do it at the right age, with the right person, and not end up becoming, unfortunately, a victim of. Yeah. I see, if there's a medical thing of having two vaginas, it could be a problem. But I'll tell you what, the only thing is with the woman's vagina is like upar aur andar ka bhag alag hai. So two vaginas basically is that people still get confused, and you'll have
it's an extension of the...
Correct, a lot of gynecologists telling you that log conceive nahi karte, IVF bolte, because they're putting it in the wrong... I shouldn't use the word hole, but in the wrong place. Correct, right? So what happens is with the vagina, it's, as this is like an onion, it has its own, so the problem is, that's what I'm saying, even women are confused often.
Forget men.
When I get my menstrual thing, ये क्या थी आवे छे? ये ऊपरना भाग थी आवे छे कि जे also the bloody anus, it's very confusing. So all the more women should know their bodies very well. कि when I bleed, what is it? When I get pleasure, is it the same thing? Right? So this two vagina का सबसे बड़ा myth ये है कि because it's designed, if I may say, in a way that there's something which is deeper inside, and there's something which is outer layer, which also has its pleasure values.
So this is what they might be calling the second vagina.
Correct. Unless there is कोई नव Instagram पर આવ્યું છે, I don't know.
We don't have.
Yeah. नहीं, मेरे को ये लगता है कि क्या होता है ना, ये confusion अक्सर यही होता है कि क्योंकि क्या है कि see now a penis is like a pipe, it's very simple, it has two testicles and that's it, right? Like that's it. You know that, okay.
ये है.
But this vagina is like a little कि यार ये ऊपर, and हम बात भी नहीं करते हैं. In fact, बाकी दो लोगों को भी घिन आ रही होगी इस कमरे में कि यार ये ऐसे कैसे खुल के बोल रहे हैं. But the problem is, इनको ही नहीं, यार मेरे को तो अभी खैर ये तो लेना नहीं, but it's a part of my set कि जब मैं अपना यूट्रस निकलवाने गई थी, the doctor didn't want to use the word vagina, and he's a gynec. अबे gynec अगर vagina नहीं use करेगा तो मैं मतलब like it's a medical term, you've studied that, you've seen into it, right? I mean that's your specialty, and for which you'll be charging me a bomb, right?
अगर आप नहीं use करोगे तो
हाँ, तो मतलब मैं कह रही हूँ कि ये apprehensions इतने हैं, अने I also when I went for a pap smear test, a pap test is essential for early detection of cervical cancer. Now, women are prone to cervical and breast cancer. Cervical cancer is the only cancer that, if detected, can be eliminated like mati jakhu. But detect nathi thatu. Karan ke it's a pap test in which they take the whatever. I'm not saying skin, but whatever reminiscence from the inside of your vagina, right? To see if there is a bacterial growth. Simple. Abhi એમાં શું થાય that a lot of, so when I went for my first pap, I wasn't married. So the doctor said, ના અમે નહીં કરી, તમે married નથી. And I'm looking at her and saying, પણ હું sexually active છું. She said, ના હું નહીં કરું. मैं को why? She says, अगर कुछ hymen फट गया. मैंने कहा, भाई I am 28. I'm telling you I'm sexually active, and if you don't check, what is the probability that you missed? And तुमने all कितनों को miss किया होगा who are telling you that I am sexually active. Even doctors
shaming us is a different thing altogether.
Yeah. So while there are good ones, we also find ones who refuse to sort of check you because you're not married. I mean, imagine, Janvi, but why?
And when someone in breast checkup, they ask if you're married.
If you're married is like a no standard for everything. Yeah.
This isn't changing with marriage.
Nothing. I mean, lactation just makes it bigger, but yeah. So this vagina thing is, as I said, ऊपर और अंदर का layer है ना, तो हम ही खुद confuse हो जाते हैं. I think women will talk about it once they know about it. The biggest problem is हम लोग पहले से ही sex की बात नहीं करते हैं. तुम आए हो sex की वजह से. सीधी सी बात है. Let's open conversations in families. I think because they don't talk about it at all. तो क्या होता है कि पंचायत में भी they will only say कि यार शादी को 3 साल हो गए, बच्चा कब करोगे? Like maybe I don't know. I'm not having a good time in the sack with your son, but I can't say that, right? Or there's something which is a problem. So my only thing is that even for women, women to talk about orgasm, they only don't know what an orgasm is. Ne?
Yeah, but if we talk, there will be character assassination
Haan,
or
of course.
judging, which we are scared of.
That
wants to do
is
that.
also there. Ne?
Everyone wants to be this pavitra mahila, right? Aurat,
Okay,
Sati Savitri.
and see, I think talking about your pleasure that's why people have problems with women who want to talk about their own pleasure, right? It's my body. Can I talk about it? Because I have learned about all your masturbation jokes, your jerking off jokes, your semen jokes, your coming of age jokes, about all those crass words of मैंने कोने में जाके कुछ नहीं था, मैंने मूठ मार लिया. Now, if a woman stand-up comic says that कि हाँ भैया the date was so bad कि मैंने जाके dildo डाल दिया, it won't even bring in laughs because people are like yuck. So I'm saying, it's
Results.
Yeah.
I did one set with Mahila Manch. It was on Twitter.
Huh?
You know what happened,
Oh,
right?
oh yeah, example तो यही बैठी है. Oh,
And then I stopped.
Yeah, you're right.
It's not easy for women
No,
to
it's
just
not.
talk
It's
about
not.
it.
It's not. The backlash is what is still scary. And from a health perspective, this needs to be discussed. Health and safety both go hand in hand. Because then, again, if you want, cut it off. But doctors will tell you, okay, a lot of women come with kakadis shoved up there, this thing, because they don't understand. They are curious. So if you're curious, can that come with a good amount of knowledge?
Yeah.
Can that come with the right kind of knowledge? Contraceptive pills महिलाएं नहीं समझती, अंड शंड लेके it later affects a lot of your body, hormones, so many other things. Na? So when are women exactly sat and said कि चलो शादी कर रहे हो पर उसके पहले ना ये चीज़ बहुत कंपलसरी है. एक तो पहले तुम सेक्सुअल ये सारे सेक्सुअल डिजीजेस उसका टेस्ट कराओ दोनों, और दूसरा कॉन्ट्रासेप्टिव की बात करते हैं. बिकॉज इवन टुडे lot of people will tell you that men don't want to use condoms, so women are forced to consume pills, right? Or
there's so much patriarchy in the bedroom, which I even wrote about, and then no one talks about that.
Yeah.
Not wanting to use condom is like the first of them.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what casual relationship means in today's generation, but casual એટલે શું કે મારે લગ્ન નથી કરવું, બસ ખાલી રહેવું છે એવું, એમાં કંઈ ખોટું નથી. I'll be very honest, because marriage is an institution, and my biggest thing is to be very sure that this is the person, whoever, irrespective of the gender, who you want to settle with. You have to first मतलब तीर या तुक्का पहले ही लग गया तो ठीक है, but if not, I feel that's why many fail, because one, in different phases of your life and age, you're very different. Your body needs, your mental needs are very, very different, right? So not just women, I think even a lot of men are forced, to कि भाई नहीं करने यार, save it for the one you're getting, ऐसा कुछ save
जैसा है,
हाँ, उससे कुछ होगा भी नहीं, और ना ही वो इतना कुछ अंगारे फूटेंगे जब आप पहली बार करोगे. इनफैक्ट द फर्स्ट फ्यू टाइम्स इज वेरी मेसी. यू स्टार्ट बिकमिंग गुड आफ्टर लाइक यू आर कंफर्टेबल विद द प्रोसेस, विद योरसेल्फ, with everything, right? That's when you're very comfortable, and then you're looking at the bed sheets, then you want music, but तब तक लगे पति क्यों ना बस हंस दुखियों नहीं जेटल मैं imagine कर रही हूँ, right? So the thing is, I think casual relationships is a choice, is a personal choice, and there's nothing wrong in that. I won't say hi ये खराब है, as long as I'm against any abusive relationship, चाहे वो शादीशुदा लोग हैं या casual है, और वो कहीं भी होता है, it doesn't matter. It's not કે casual વાળામાં જ બહુ મારે છે, બધામાં હોય છે. See, there are two discussions in it, and maybe you should definitely try getting an expert, because monogamy, as you say, individual, એ human અને animalsમાં નથી. But because as we progress now from being agriculture to industrial to everything, we started looking at it by saying ke single rakhi din. See, institution of marriage is very interesting, right? Because that also ties you up. तुम कैसे कर सकते हो कि you are with one person and you are in love? Your reasons for being in love change with age, right? Then it becomes comfort. Then it becomes something else. But that doesn't mean if I look at a hot guy, I would be sexually very attracted कि boss क्या है यार? So all I'm saying is, you know, in fact, you should try doing something around this if you're bold enough. Monogamy, both for male and female. The laws around monogamy are also very crazy. Yeah? કે પછી you know what I'm saying કે લગ્નમાં divorce નો એક સૌથી મોટું ગ્રાઉન્ડ હોય કે if you're married and you are having an affair, then it becomes a very strong reason for them to instantly give divorce. Now my question is, what is the reason? Hasn't she been satisfied? Maybe, right? And divorce experts will tell you that lawyers, counselors, that one of the main reason is a lot of sexual
or either you have an open relationship,
incapacity, not satisfying, so many other things, right? It was always happening. I think it's coming to the forefront. ऐसा नहीं था कि नहीं होता था.
People are more accepting of it now than they were earlier. पहले भी extramarital, so obviously.
Of course, extramaritals has or anything beyond the relationship has always been there. It's human nature. आपने as a dictum दे दिया है कि आप एक के साथ हो, एक के साथ रहो. Right, and we say, "Oh, film." हम तो कहते थे ना, film stars के affair होते. No, that was a great way for us to cover our. होता था ना, because it's not possible beyond a point for you to always be tied up. ना कहीं वो फूटेगा. It could be sexual. It could be the urge to even emotionally connect. Maybe not sexual, just emotionally also connect. Can be very important. Also another thing. This cheating on has changed post your internet era. So even if you're doing things on a phone, it is considered cheating. It doesn't mean sleeping around only, which is so crazy yaar कि
it is betrayal, right?
Yeah, right? Correct, right? It is betrayal कि તમે રાતના 1 વાગે સુધી કોઈની જોડે chat કરો છો.
Yeah,
it's a betrayal, right? Like you might as well not have sex with me and sleep off.
And it can be legal proof.
Yeah, right? कि 2 बजे के चैट देखो ये सविता भाभी को कर रहे हैं टाइप्स, you know. So it's just, I mean, law has so much to catch up, no? I feel very worried on how they're going to deal with. और अभी तो और अगरा आएगा.
अब तो वर्चुअल आएगा.
वर्चुअल ये वो पता नहीं कैसे
कन्वेंशन से डील नहीं कर पा रहे.
हाँ, तो अब ये भी होएगा. पता नहीं, मुझे पता नहीं ये
सेफ्टी.
हाँ, मुझे बनी रहे. हाँ, सेफ्टी is always, I think, compromise, unfortunately. वो होता है तो बस थोड़ा कहीं ना कहीं. बट ये डिस्कशंस चालू रखने चाहिए आपको मोनोगैमी पे. आपको यू नो आजकल यही तो हो रहा है. इफ यू आर फ्रेंड्स विद समवन एंड यू सेंड अ क्यूट लिटिल दिस थिंग इमोजी एंड यू मैरिड टू समवन एल्स, इज दैट बिट्रेयल? इज दैट ब्रेकिंग द मोनोगैमी? आई डोंट नो. है ना? आई मीन
सो मेनी लेयर्स टू इट. सो न्यूआंस.
हाँ, गुरु थकू जाए से नहीं.
देख लिया तो पसंद आ गया तो.
हाँ, बस. There was one in Rajkot. We couldn't do that show. But the current wife, the ex-wife and the husband, they wanted to do stand-up. And I thought that was so cool.
Wow.
Ke pati ki uje. It's not a threesome or anything, but it's like, pati go. But she's like, yaar, I mean, they've embraced that divorce very well, yeah. And there's nothing wrong in it, na? अब नहीं जमा तो नहीं जमा यार. कुछ होगा reason यार.
I think there's lot further for us to think. But thank you for your time. For more such interviews and interactions, keep watching Women's Social Corner. Thank you.